วัสดีค่ะ Very good evening and welcome to Thai PBS World Tonight.
สวัสดีค่ะ Good evening as well, and it's already Thursday, just one day away, just one more day in the work week.
Yep.
And kicking off the program with the latest on COVID-19 situation. And as you can see, the situation is actually improving with fewer infections as well as fatalities. And probably some development and good news where the home isolation program is coming to an end. Today is actually the last day. So the National Health Security Office, or NHSO, which has run the home isolation program for COVID-19 patients at a total cost of more than 150 billion baht, has decided to shut the program down today. Since this is according to Medical Service Department Director General Dr. Somsak Akasin. He also said that the NHSO board will meet on Monday to scrap the free distribution of rapid antigen test kits, or known here in Thailand as ATKs, to members of the public via selected drugstores. And noting that in accordance with the Medical Service Department's regulation, rapid antigen test kits will be administered only when a patient has developed symptoms. And according to the NHSO Deputy Secretary General, COVID-19 patients can still get access to hospitals for treatment in accordance with their entitlements, such as the Gold Card, the Standard Social Security Scheme, or the Health Security Scheme for government officials. The doctor said suspected infected people will be administered the test, and if the results are positive, they will be given medication. But if their condition is serious, they will still be admitted for treatment in hospital as usual. So the home isolation program was introduced when hospitals were so overwhelmed, if you remember those times, especially last year. Overwhelmed by all the many patients, especially severe cases, and there were not enough beds to accommodate them during the peak. Patients with mild symptoms were told to stay at home under the program, but the NHSO arranged for health officials to monitor their condition and to supply them with medication and other necessities. Meanwhile, Dr. Yongpu Wariwan, who is the head of Center of Excellence in Clinical Virology at Faculty of Medicine of Chulalongkorn University, said in his Facebook post that the fatality rate of COVID-19 in Thailand is actually quite low, less than 0.1%. If we consider the prediction or projection that the actual infection rate is 10 times higher than reported by the authorities, and all these infections actually found a lot among those over 60 years old, pregnant women, and others with underlying diseases, especially those who also have not yet received their booster shots.
Well, even though today the COVID-19 figures have slightly increased, but it is still not too worrying because the fatality rate is still very low, and that the number of recoveries are still really high as well.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as we always mention, we can still, keep the guards up no matter what.
Exactly. And now let's move on to this story. A House panel is planning to propose the Thai government about the establishment of 5 legal casinos with revenues taxed at 30%. And this panel actually believes that this will help solve the problems related to illegal gambling dens. Pichet Theumeungpan, the second vice chairman of a House committee which studies the legalization of entertainment complexes, said after its meeting yesterday that they have submitted their findings to the government for them to consider the establishment of legal casinos, one each in the north, northeast, and central region, Greater Bangkok, and the southern region. He said that such casinos would allow all forms of gambling, from traditional gambling to online gambling. Pichet also explained that for the legal casinos, the government would allow concessions with the private sector from which the government will collect 30% tax, including local maintenance tax, which can be used for the maintenance of such venues. Gamblers would need to be, of course, at least 20 years old to enter the legal casinos and provide their financial status before entering. At the same time, government officials would not be allowed to enter unless they have permits. He also said that the House Committee has studied the legislation of casinos in various countries, such as in Singapore and Malaysia, and the methods which they will adapt to make them suitable for Thailand. Pichet also stated that the proposed establishment of legal casinos is also to attract tourists to Thailand. They will submit their findings to the government in a month's time and make proposals to the House of Representatives by this November. And in fact, many countries do have legal casinos, and this actually attracts a lot of tourists as well. And it is really interesting that they said that they would like to establish more legal casinos in Thailand so that it will eliminate the problem with illegal gambling dens.
Right. And you know, if you remember, we have actually covered the problem of overpriced lottery tickets. And the government actually recently launched a series of online lottery tickets that sells, you know, like hotcakes, actually running out in you know, millions of tickets being sold in just a few hours. And maybe that's the right solution. Who knows? You know, when you make something legal and controlled.
Exactly. And not to mention that with the gambling dens that are somewhat illegal, especially along the borders of Thailand, if we have a legal one, then these illegal ones will actually close down later on.
Yeah, like those, you know, the traditional lottery vendors who now have so many tickets, you know, being left unsold, unfortunately. And turning now to politics, and you may have heard some reports about the issue being raised about relatives or family members of some senators being employed as their assistants, and the Senate Speaker coming out to defend this and saying that this is actually quite normal. So this complaint has been made quite official today when a petition was submitted to the chief of Thailand's Parliamentary Committee on Corruption Prevention and Suppression, Seri Pisut to seek an investigation of some members of the Senate who do so. So submitted by the Thai Sang Thai Party's communications director, the complaint sought a ruling on whether the practice was against the Senate Ethics Code or the Constitution. The complaint follows controversy surrounding the appointment of House members' assistants, a number of whom were found to be relatives of the members. So it raises a question of whether this was nepotism at the expense of taxpayers. Senators who are related to their assistants will be summoned to explain themselves, according to Seri Pisut, who added that this practice might need to be reviewed, or at least a number of assistants may be cut in order to ensure the taxpayers' money is used efficiently. And although the complaint was only against some members of the Senate, Seri Pisut also said his committee will also investigate some members of the lower houses or members of representatives as well. The committee chief also noted that he personally doesn't think the practice was unconstitutional, but rather a matter of appropriateness. If, however, the appointment was found to be illegitimate or unethical, Seri Pisut said legal action will then be taken against those members. He also observed that some might not have appointed their assistants for the merit, but actually to exploit their position for their own financial gain, and stressing that, of course, this will be a waste of taxpayer money. So hopefully this will be, seen through. This will be thoroughly investigated, and some conclusion coming out of this as well.
Exactly. And now let's move on to this story. If you're having issues with the Bangkok Bank mobile application this morning. Apparently, you are not alone because many netizens took to Twitter today to complain about the mobile application, which has been down due to current high volume of access since earlier this morning. And this is apparently the same day where many people's salaries are transferred to their bank accounts, making the hashtags translated as Bangkok is down along with another hashtag Bangkok Bank trending on Thai Twitter. Many netizens ranted that the mobile app by Bangkok Bank had been inaccessible since 5 a.m. today. At the time of this report, the app remained inaccessible for many people, while several complaining about not being able to complete any transactions or even transfer money to their families. Netizens even poked fun at a female cartoon character, which is seen bowing to customers on the banking app, along with the service is unavailable message. One of the netizens tweeted that it's funny hiring staff to create this cartoon instead of hiring them to improve the application. The same user also tweeted that the bank's main weakness is technology, with the mobile app crashing nearly every single month. Another user also suggested that the Bank of Thailand should come up with measures to regulate mobile banking apps and that banks should be responsible for the crash and they should pay a fine and compensate their customers as well. Meanwhile, Bangkok Bank issued a statement explaining that their mobile banking service is temporarily unavailable as they are experiencing technical issues, adding that the bank acknowledges the problem and will fix it as soon as possible. So this is something that has angered many Thais today, especially those who are using Bangkok Bank. In fact, many people actually made fun of this cartoon character when you opened up this app. Some people even said that it looks like a ghost.
Oh,
with
a ghost.
There's this movie many years ago it's called Ju-won, and this ghost apparently had very long hair, so they kind of made fun of this cartoon character for even making people a bit angry, sort of.
Right, and anyone, especially, anticipating counting days even, that this is the last day of the month, the payday, and it's not coming. Of course, anyone would be quite frustrated. And last but not least in the program tonight, we actually reported before about, higher prices of several items of goods, including food. And I also mentioned before as well that a lot of Thai people have proven themselves to be quite creative in, handling some problems. And this is, one of the issues that they were creative with when a lot of netizens are asking and sharing tips about how to cook with limited budget. So one desperate soul turned to a Facebook group translated as Beloved Household Chores for Help. The post has attracted widespread attention and has been shared over 100 times. Many comments were also received with several recommendations for low-cost meals, such as making meatballs with pork mixed with tapioca flour at home and keeping them in the fridge for use over a number of days in various dishes, including meatballs and boiled instant noodles for breakfast, fried meatballs or meatballs in a soup with a lot of vegetables, which is of course also healthy and nutritious. And chili shrimp paste, or known in Thai as nam prik, is another recommended item, which can be eaten with boiled vegetables or fried eggs, fried with acacia leaves, and other recommended dishes include spicy egg salad, spicy mushroom salad, and of course a lot more. One of them said she feels better now because her homemade food does not contain seasoning powder and saves her money. Another said he has even started growing vegetables for consumption. So a wide range of food items have been experiencing a surge in prices due to rising fuel prices and other inflationary factors. For example, a price of mackerel has increased by 20 to 30 baht per kilogram. And if you go on the street to have some delicious street food for cheap, it's actually not that cheap anymore because of the increase of about 5 to 10 baht. And And if you remember, there was actually a war between people who love pad thai versus pad kra pao or the stir-fried basil with meat on rice. The latter now averages 59 baht, which is up 3 baht since the beginning of the year.
And 59 baht is pretty expensive for just a dish of pad kra pao, which is actually everyone's favorite.
Yeah, well, maybe not everyone. As I mentioned, there was recently this
drama
a bit of
between pad thai and pad kra pao.
So what do you think? Is it pad thai or pad kra pao for you? And also maybe the cost might be a decisive factor.
Exactly, but it is interesting with the suggested menu. It does save a lot of money and it seems to be much more nutritious and healthier, but whether it's delicious or not, it's still some sort of a debate.
Yeah,
debatable. And it depends on people's preferences as well, because some people like it spicy, some people prefer it to be sweeter, but then it's up to you.
Right. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Thai PBS World tonight, so you can enjoy either pad thai or pad kra pao, your choice. Of course, do stay tuned for more editions of this show, which is up every weekday at 7 p.m. right here on YouTube and Facebook Live.
And don't forget to follow us on social media, including our website, thaipbsworld.com, for all the latest updates as well as analyses. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะ